This is Matthew Kratter's Bitcoin University. Today I wanted to talk about how BlackRock can fork Bitcoin and what a situation like that would look like. Let's say one fine Thursday afternoon in 2027, Coinbase custody messes up and loses all the Bitcoin that they're holding, including the Bitcoin that backs BlackRock's spot Bitcoin ETF, which is IBIT. Baldilocks, in other words, Coinbase CEO Brian Armstrong, calls up Larry Boy, CEO Larry Fink of BlackRock, at home and gives him the bad news. "I'm so sorry, Larry. I don't know how this happened, but this is Brian Armstrong on the Zoom call. This is Larry's first look, and this is how Larry looks about 15 seconds later. He is not happy." Larry responds, "Fork you and your mom, Brian. I'm going to take this thing nuclear. No one takes my Bitcoin and gets away with it." So Larry gets together with his Wall Street buddies and proposes a fork of Bitcoin that restores Coinbase's holdings of Bitcoin. Lots of people are quite happy with this, especially people who have lost Bitcoin at Coinbase. We can see that as of September 2nd, Coinbase has about 2.2, 2.3 million Bitcoin under its control, and it's holding it for many different groups, including Revolut, all the BlackRock and other spot Bitcoin ETFs. It's holding it for Coinbase Prime Custody, obviously, for MicroStrategy, Tesla, SpaceX, and then a bunch of Bitcoin miners as well. So BlackRock and friends put their weight behind this new fork of Bitcoin, whose blockchain history does not include the theft or loss of Coinbase's Bitcoin. BlackRock and friends call this new fork BTC in order to confuse everyone, and then they label real BTC, the one that Coinbase lost a lot of and the one that you and I hold today, they label real BTC as Bitcoin Classic. Now, this would be quite bad news indeed. I would then expect to see many U.S. publicly traded Bitcoin miners, the same ones that BlackRock owns a lot of in their ETFs and the ones who have lost a lot of Bitcoin on Coinbase. So this would be Hut 8, CleanSpark, Cypher Mining, and Bitfarms. I'd expect to see many of these U.S. publicly traded Bitcoin miners move their hash, move their mining over to the BlackRock fork of the network, the BlackRock BTC. I would then expect lots of panic and price volatility to ensue as people try to figure out whether to hold BlackRock BTC or Bitcoin Classic, which is the real BTC. If you're finding this video helpful so far, I just ask you to help to support this channel's mission by clicking the subscribe button, leave a like, leave a comment, question, suggestion for a future video, and share this video with a friend or family member. Now, what would I personally do in such a situation, a BlackRock fork situation? I would say my node would keep running Bitcoin Core or Bitcoin Knots and following the classic consensus rules that we have today. I would take my airdrop of BlackRock BTC that I got from the fork, and I would immediately dump it either for fiat and then buy some BTC with it, or I would dump it directly for Bitcoin Classic. You'd probably have this pair trading on all the exchanges, so you could decide whether you wanted to hold on to your BlackRock BTC or dump it to increase your Bitcoin Classic holdings. So my holdings of what today we call BTC, because of this airdrop and flipping it immediately back into more Bitcoin Classic, my holdings of BTC would approximately double if I took quick action. So if I had 10 Bitcoin, I would be awarded 10 BlackRock BTC, and assuming the exchange rate was the same, I could flip those 10 BlackRock BTC for 10 more BTC. So my holdings would approximately double if I took quick action, and assuming the BlackRock BTC piece did not depreciate very quickly before I was able to sell it for BTC. And I would expect all freedom-minded Bitcoiners to do the same thing and dump their BlackRock BTC for Bitcoin Classic, because no one who values freedom wants to be part of a network where BlackRock sets the rules. I would expect lots of other Bitcoiners to join me and freedom-minded Bitcoiners, even if they didn't value freedom, and this is why. Today, Coinbase holds, as we saw, about 2.2 million BTC, and I would expect everyone who loses their BTC at Coinbase to keep holding their BlackRock BTC, since that's all they have left. But what about the holders of the other, call it 18 roughly, or maybe a little bit more at that point by 2027. What about the holders of the other 18 million BTC that's not been lost? There's no reason for them to give up the freedom that comes with real BTC's decentralization and neutrality, since they're still hodling their BTC and didn't have it lost by Coinbase or on Coinbase. So they'll probably dump their BlackRock BTC for more BTC Classic, just like you and me. And if enough people do this and miners begin to see the price of BlackRock BTC falling sharply on the exchanges relative to the price of Bitcoin Classic or the real BTC, many of them will be forced by economic incentives, just pure financial incentives, to move their hash back to Bitcoin Classic. We have a historical precedent for this with what happened when Bcash forked away from BTC. It was quite volatile at first, and then BTC won the game, and Bcash has been trending to zero against BTC ever since. 2016 to 2018, when this happened, was a contentious time with all the block size wars going on, but it eventually sorted itself out, and BTC prevailed over Bcash, over BCH. Today, only morons hold Bcash, and they're gradually being taken out by Darwinian economic evolution, where they continue to get poorer and less powerful relative to holders of BTC. And this is really true for all holders of other cryptocurrencies besides BTC. They all trend to zero eventually against BTC. If you're a Bcash holder, you may notice as well that Donald Trump and RFK Jr. have never mentioned Bcash once. Not that we need these politicians for BTC to succeed, but it's still funny that RFK Jr. seems more aware of Cardano than Bcash. That must help. That must really hurt the Bcashers' feelings. So what will happen then to the 2.2 million BTC, the Bitcoin Classic that was stolen from Coinbase in this original scenario by the hackers? Well, if the hackers are smart, they will coin join and spend them really slowly and in small amounts. Mostly due to liquidity concerns, they will be forced to hodl because 2.2 million Bitcoin is a lot to reabsorb into the system. So what just happened is this: a crime was committed, and the criminals, the hackers, are now forced by market liquidity limitations to become the largest Bitcoin hodlers in human history. And presumably, they wanted this BTC to begin with because they went to all the trouble of stealing it. So if these criminals are now forced by market liquidity limitations to become the largest Bitcoin hodlers in human history, hodling 2.2 million Bitcoin, that's great for Bitcoin, since previously all of those coins were being actively traded and dumped on and off the exchanges by degens and ETF investors moving in and out of the ETFs, so then the ETFs having to adjust by buying or selling BTC. Now that 2.2 million that was being traded around, they've been taken off the market and will only be dribbled out in small quantities. That's if the hackers are smart. If the hackers are dumb, they'll get caught and tortured by the US government or another government or an intelligence agency until they turn over their private keys. And then the US government or the CIA or whatever will own that 2.2 million BTC, becoming the largest hodler of Bitcoin Classic, real BTC, in the world. Or maybe the US government will be stupid and dump all that Bitcoin, driving the price of BTC down a lot and allowing you and me to accumulate even more cheap sats. After a few years of absolute chaos and price volatility, your BTC in cold storage will end up being much more valuable than it was before the hack. You'll also have much more of it, as we said, thanks to your dumping your BlackRock BTC for more real BTC. Bitcoin's an extremely robust system, and Bitcoiners who hold their own private keys and run their own nodes are equally robust. I think it's very unlikely that a scenario like this plays out, but even if it did, we would all be fine, assuming that there's still a lot of freedom-loving Bitcoiners in the world. Ultimately, Bitcoin is only as good as Bitcoiners themselves, which is why education and having children is so important in this space. As I've said before, the best way to make a new Bitcoiner is with your spouse, but barring that, education is the key. And even raising children, obviously, education is the key in how the parents teach them. We want every generation of true Bitcoiners to be real self-sovereign individuals from the cradle and not status cucks who'd be happy with a fork of Bitcoin controlled by BlackRock. I want to thank Francis Pouliot of Bull Bitcoin for inspiring this thought experiment with his recent tweet, which I'll link to in the description notes below, where I've taken much of this scenario from. And if you're in the market to buy some Bitcoin, especially if you're in Canada, check out his company Bull Bitcoin, which is also available now in Costa Rica and in France as well. This is a great way to buy Bitcoin. Unfortunately, Bull Bitcoin, thanks to the US government and our selling regulations, is not available for US residents or citizens. But if you're elsewhere, check it out because it's a great service. If you enjoyed this video, also check out the two preceding videos about Coinbase paper Bitcoin and a Coinbase Bitcoin hack coming. That provides more context for what we talked about today. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to hit the subscribe and like buttons. Hit the notification bell if you want to be notified when I publish my next video. And let me know your questions and comments in the comment section below. Thanks all for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.